Mic check.
Hello. Mic check. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of this unnamed
Another
podcast. I am Jaylindo Hundo.
Tiny.
And today's episode is a recap of our first day of travels. We are currently on a road trip from our little small town of Dyer, Tennessee, all the way to Boise, Idaho. The reason we are going up here is, if you watched the last episode, is because one of us got signed to play professional baseball. Who do you think it is? Anyways, we started in Dyer. We went all the way through Dyersburg to Caruthersville, then Hayti, then St. Louis.
St. Louis.
And we were in Missouri for, six?
Felt like all day.
Probably 7
Every
or
time I looked at the
8.
map, we were like right on the edge of St. Louis all day.
We drove about 10 hours yesterday, and probably 7 to maybe 8 or 9 hours of it was Missouri. We made it all the way to Kansas City. Yep, I hope he doesn't get me. We made it all the way to Kansas City, and then we stayed in
Lincoln, Nebraska.
And we went to the gym. The things we saw on the way to Lincoln, Nebraska was a lot of flat ground. It's real windy out here too.
It is so annoying, the wind.
It's pulling the car everywhere. I could see how a tornado would tear through this area, because y'all can kind of see back there. There's just flat and nothing. It goes miles, and then there'll be a hill.
Yep.
Stop it. In Tennessee, you can't see that far. There's tree lines in every field.
Yep.
Out here, you can see way out there, and there's no trees. And if there are trees,
There's a windmill.
there's no leaves. Where?
Like a wind thing?
Yeah. The turbine?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
turbine.
I see it.
Bro, that just shows
That's
how
pretty
far
cool.
you can see out here. Because that's almost as
Yeah.
far as you can see with your eye.
I've never even seen a windmill before. But, yeah, it's been interesting. I've never driven this far in my life.
I've driven as far as we did yesterday, but turning around and driving again today, I've never done that.
If you haven't yet, like and subscribe to the channel.
We got the link in that last night at 7. We checked in the hotel and went straight to the gym. We went to Crunch Fitness, and the person at the front desk hooked us up with a free pass.
Yeah, shout out Crunch Fitness.
Yeah. So we had a free pass to a fat gym. I mean, it was mid. It was overall Crunch Fitness in Lincoln, Nebraska was mid.
I liked it, man. I liked it. I got a little overstimulated, because the whole time you're in there, there's this chatter. There was probably 200 people in there at one time.
At least.
And it's huge, but there's just this chatter. There's just this constant ambient noise in your ear, and it started to freak me out kind of towards the end. But I was after driving 10 hours off of one meal and trying to lift real heavy and trying to find the machines and walking around, so many bad bitches looking at me. It's just, it can get overwhelming. But today we're going from Lincoln, Nebraska to Rawlins, Wyoming, and this is going to be the most boring part of the trip. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be flat.
Yeah.
And
from Nebraska, from where we stopped, we're going to pretty much drive through 3/4 of Nebraska and then into about half of Wyoming. And it's literally the stretch of the Midwest where it's just roads and nothing else. My granddad went here this past summer working, and he says that you literally drive for an hour and you may see a camper on the side of the road, and that's it. So it's going to be interesting. What do we do if we don't have gas? We're 50 miles from the nearest anything. You know those movies where people are just driving and then they run out of gas and there's gas nowhere?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we can call 411, or I call the police.
The popo?
Yeah, I would call the police or somebody to like come get me, like one of these like community helping people to come get me. But I don't know. I don't know. All
right, well,
yeah, this is the part of the podcast I always think I can just freestyle, but then it just I'm like
All right, well, that's it for the podcast.
I just recapped day yesterday, and all it was just try.
Yeah.
At 5 minutes.
I know today we're gonna get there a lot earlier. Gonna get there at 4:00 today. So we'll have a lot. Yesterday I felt a little rushed. I think that was why the gym didn't go as good as I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Because I was starving and I knew we were eating Chipotle, and if you know me, Chipotle is my favorite ever. So I really just wanted to leave the gym and go get Chipotle because I was hungry.
That's my biggest distraction in any lift is I get hungry. As soon as I start getting hungry, my lift starts falling off, and I want to leave. I want to go get food. I gotta go get food.
Yeah, I think. Sorry about that. I think today, overall, the trip from Lincoln, Nebraska to Rawlins, Wyoming will be good.
We are about 30 minutes into our drive. We have 7 hours and 34 minutes to go. So should we just do the podcast for 7 hours and 34 minutes?
Yes.
Who would watch a 7 hour, 34 minute Jay Lendo and Tiny podcast?
If you're watching the podcast and you even enjoy them a little bit, and you watch all the way to this far, comment something you want to know about either me or Jay Lendo, and we'll ramble about it for a very long time in the next podcast.
Well,
if you haven't noticed, we can yap about nothing for a while. So if you give us anything, we can yap even longer. Also, too, do y'all like the no structure of the podcast, or do y'all like the having a topic, asking questions that we have thought through, or do y'all like just kind of rambling, going through whatever's running through our mind?
How I see people watching this is pretty much background noise, so they just enjoy our voice. They might not be listening all the time, but they enjoy being connected. They enjoy they enjoy just feeling like they're in the conversation with us.
Shout out Miss Mary Gay London. She texts me about my podcast all the time. She likes my voice, I think.
Okay, buddy.
I'm just kidding. Hey, Miss Mary Gay, I'll take you up on the brownies if you want to ship them out to Boise now.
Okay, buddy. Yeah. You can stop it for a second. Mic check.
That boy called it tumbleweed.
Okay, so we are back. Swapped seats. That was the recap of our day, and now we have a new topic. Kind of a road trip topic, I would say, especially looking out over all this flat terrain. It's got us thinking, maybe the world is flat.
It ain't got me thinking. I done been thinking the world is flat.
Okay, we actually argued about this for probably 30 minutes earlier, and I'm not set on the Earth being flat. I think it's so big that it can look really flat, like you can see really far, but it's such a small curve around the outside that you just can't even really tell.
I think that I know that the globies, they have measurements for the curvature of the Earth, and if you use that and then you go stand over some flat water, it's impossible. So honestly, there is zero argument for anything globally, because if you go look at water and you can see past 8 miles, it's impossible if the Earth is curved. And also, water doesn't curve; it always finds level, and level water is flat. So I don't know what else to do besides.
Where is there 8 miles of level water, though?
What do you mean? Any body of water, the water finds level.
It's waves.
Yeah, but that's getting acted upon. by wind or something.
Okay, explain waves then. Where do waves come from if the Earth is flat?
I don't know, the wind or something. I don't know. What about lakes? There's 8 Mile lakes.
There's still not still water. It's like a constant.
From the wind.
Yeah. What about when there's no wind?
It's flat. The water's level and flat. It forms to its boundaries. And when it does that,
tumbleweed. We're seeing a bunch of tumbleweed out here too.
it is. Just started not too long ago.
Blowing across the road.
I don't even know what a tumbleweed technically. It looks like they look like little bushes.
That's pretty cool. But anyways, my biggest question on how the world would be flat is just what are at the edges, you know? What would be at the edges? Ice wall is what they say.
See, I'm not the smartest on like the research side of the flat stuff. I'm pretty sure outside of the ice wall there's extraterrestrial, extra territory. So like, I don't know. There's a firmament. Oh gosh, there's a firmament.
See, I also don't believe that either. I think if we wanted to go above the sky, bro, we could.
I don't think so. I don't think you can get. I know you can't get to space. There is no space.
So all those rocket ships are just for show?
Yeah,
Just fake pictures?
they don't go straight up. They go out and curve
And then where do they go? Back down?
out into the water to where can't nobody see them.
Out into the water. That's a new one too that I heard today was that there's water above the sky.
They ain't going to that water.
Oh.
They going out in the ocean so far you can't see them.
You can see 8 miles out into the ocean and it's flat.
That's not that far.
So they go 10 miles out there?
10 miles, bro. They're going thousands of miles an hour. Those shuttles. Okay, look up. Here's something for anybody that thinks the Earth is flat or believes in the shuttles and stuff. Go look at like a stealth bomber and look at the speeds that they go. They go like Mach 9, Mach 10, I think, and that's like 1,000 miles an hour, maybe something like that. The numbers might be off, but still, it's still right. They go thousands of miles an hour, but a space shuttle goes thousands and thousands of miles an hour. And look how they're built. Look at literally look at the outer shell of them, and then go look at a B-5 bomber or look at a stealth bomber. It's like literally like $1 billion for one plane, one jet.
Yeah, but that plane isn't strong enough, sturdy enough to go like in, out, like up into the pressure of space and stuff.
Which one?
The stealth bomber.
Exactly. And look how it's built.
Right, just
And then go look
for speed.
And then go look at a space shuttle that goes 10 times faster.
It's bigger.
It doesn't matter. It's built terribly.
Oh.
Out of nothing.
What? It's got titanium. The strongest metal.
Bro. Y'all go look up a picture of a stealth bomber and then go look up a picture of a space
I wish
shuttle.
we were Joe Rogan so we could pull it up and like put it on the screen.
Jamie.
But,
Hey, where's Jamie at?
hey Jamie, get that on the screen, man. Let's pull that up.
Bro, these hills are getting fat.
But I don't know about it. I don't see. The problem is I've never been able to test it though. Like I could get a flight from Tokyo to California though. And then I could get a flight the other way. That's why I don't think it's flat.
What do you mean get a flight the other way? What does a flight have to do with the proving that it's like not?
Because I can go from California to Tokyo this way, but I can also go from, whatever's on this side, Europe to
You would never do that.
Tokyo anyways. I might do that. It's like that expensive.
No, I'm saying your flight would never go one way or the other. You would either go east or west. Like you would only go so far east, and then if the next flight you get, you would go west. Like that's if you look at the hours on the flights. If you're trying to like some people try to fly like around the world, it's like flying angles. You don't fly like around. You're flying like angles to different land masses.
Is that fact or cap?
It's fact.
I don't know. I don't know about it. I'm still not convinced.
I'm blowing his mind on some of the stuff that I come up with because you try to figure out how.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to figure out how it's not true, but it's tough.
But also, too, some people like the stars and stuff. Like, I don't know about the stars. I don't know what they are. But also, I think the sun's local, and I think the moon is like also local.
I don't think the sun is local. Do you think the moon's local, but we never been to it?
No, because I don't think it's a
Bless
rock.
you.
I don't think it's a rock. I think it's a glowing.
You don't think it's?
I think it illuminates itself. I don't think it's illuminated by the sun.
You don't think it's the People's Champ WWE star and famous Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
The Rock.
I think it's far out there. I think the sun is really far away too.
I mean, they're far. Don't get it wrong. They're far.
Then they're not local. Then
they're more local than light years or millions and millions and millions and millions of miles away. Like, I think
there was a dude that tried to fly his little dune buggy with a parachute up there.
He died though.
The video I saw, he was alive. He just came back down.
He came back down?
Yeah.
He didn't go high enough.
He couldn't. He couldn't breathe up there.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He started getting lightheaded and passing out and cold.
And the thing is, like, if you go look for a picture of the Earth, they're all fisheye lenses. You can't uncurve a fisheye lens. Like, a picture of a fisheye lens is everything at distance is rounded.
Yeah, I just don't know about it. What do you think, YouTube comments? Is the world flat? Is the world round? Is the world in a shape that we haven't discussed? Also, maybe there is no shape. Maybe it's an inverse curve.
Another topic we were talking about is airplanes flying.
Yeah.
And the curvature of the Earth. If there was curve, airplanes would have to nose down to compensate for the curvature of the Earth, or they would just go off into space. Because they're going close to 600 miles an hour.
I said gravity pulls them down towards the Earth, so they just stay at the same height around the whole curve because gravity's keeping them in here.
But the jet is thrusting away from gravity, so the gravity, if gravity was holding it to it,
no, really the wings are using the air to keep itself against gravity because the thrust is pushing it forwards, like it's not pushing it up. The wings are cutting through the air.
Right, but still, the jets is what makes it use the wind. If it didn't have jets, the wind wouldn't be able to push the wings. The wings would be able to.
All right, bro, I got something. If the world was flat, when you got up there in that plane, you'd be able to see the ice wall.
You can't see through the air that far. Like, you can only see so far through the air.
We get close to it. California, somewhere's got to be close to it. People got to be able to see it from flights they take.
Do you know how much ocean there is?
Not that much. We looked it up a while ago around the whole thing.
Go look up how much ocean has been explored.
It's like 24,000 miles as a loop around the thing, and a plane could go 20,000 miles in 1 day. Probably.
No, it can't.
I can go 10,000 miles in a day.
If it's going 600 miles an hour.
A plane can go from California all the way to the East Coast of America. And that's close to 10,000 miles probably.
Maybe, I don't know.
No, that's probably not close to 10. That's probably like 7.
I think the problem here
1,000
is the numbers. You don't agree with the numbers of the curvature. That whoever come up with it decided that was right. 8 inches per mile square.
It's not a consistent circle. It's not a perfect circle and a perfect curvature. That's an average. Obviously, there's different terrain that curves differently.
It doesn't matter how the land curves. If you were to walk from here all the way around, you have to travel on a surface. And if you were to measure that surface, that's how many miles it would be.
Yeah, but it's not a straight measurement. It's a curvy, whoopty-woppy, goopity-goopity measurement.
But it doesn't matter though. That's how. If you went straight and you didn't accomplish.
So I'm guessing the math equation that comes out is a curvature line that goes like this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So it comes out straight in a perfect circle.
I don't do the equation. It makes it. It does for how far you look, how much curve of the Earth there has to be for the Earth to be round.
How far you look?
How far you can, like, if you're looking straight, every 1 mile squared, there should be 8 inches of drop to the Earth for it to be a round ball, for it to be a globe.
That's what I'm saying. It's
for
not
the globe to work.
It's not a round ball.
Okay. Also, too, if you give it just 4 inches,
the atmosphere, I would say, is pretty round. The firmament or whatever, like, you know, the stuff that keeps all the toxins, all the air in here, whatever's above us, that could be pretty effing round. But the rock land part of the Earth, it's not a perfect round circle. It's all jagged and it's all moving and it's all like, so there's no way to have a
doesn't matter.
Consistency. Yes, it does.
So
okay, if you're looking at
how many miles are how many feet are in a mile?
So if you're measuring the outside of a ball of Play-Doh, right?
Yep.
You got a ball of Play-Doh. It's perfect, like perfectly smooth. And you measure the surface, something touching the surface around the whole side, right?
Yep.
It's going to be a certain number, right? But if you go on that Play-Doh and start jabbing holes in it and squeezing it around and shit, so it's not perfect anymore. It's got lumps and all that stuff. If you measure from the exact surface, it's going to be different.
If you do that, it would not be a globe anymore. It'd be like weird looking.
Right. It'd be like a body of land, a big ass rock floating through the.
How many miles are in a? How many feet are in a mile?
5,225. Sure.
Okay, so the highest point on Earth is what? Mount Everest?
I think so.
How high is that?
Brother. Higher than everything else.
Okay, and the lowest. There's not but like 5 miles from the highest point to the lowest point on Earth. And as big as Earth is, if you looked at that from a big lens, it would look completely flat. Not flat, it would look smooth. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, you wouldn't be. Obviously, if we're looking out through there, it looks like hills. If we went way away and we looked at this, it would look just smooth.
I don't give a fuck what it looks like from really far away. It doesn't make it smooth.
I just don't think you're right on this one. Because you have to measure the distance around the world. You would have to put the terrain into consideration because that's part of the Earth. You can't just take away terrain and then measure it.
That's what you would have to do to figure out the curve, the actual curve of it. It is though. To measure a straight line, you have to have a flat surface. And you can't measure straight.
We're not measuring a flat line, we're measuring distance.
We're measuring a consistent line. We're measuring a consistent line. That's what we need, is a consistent line.
We're measuring a point from, like, if we put a point right now where we're at, and we went exactly straight, say east. If it was a globe, you would go this far, you would travel this much distance, whether it was hills, perfectly flat, elevation never changed, or what. You have to travel that distance to get back to this point. If you went to a different point, it would be different.
What did you even just say? If you went to a different point, it would be different.
If on a globe, if you had one point right here and you went east.
Make sure your mic's still on.
If you went east, you would have to travel all the hills and stuff to get the right distance. From this point all the way around to this point again, you have to travel all the hills and everything to get the right distance. You can't just take away, like, I'm going to cut through this hill to make a straight line. Because
you would do that.
No, because that would take away your distance.
We are taking away the, like, surface, I guess the Earth's crust, or like this top layer and stuff. But that's not really what, like, the Earth is. I think you should measure above a little bit, because you can still because you can still get a measurement of. So if I have a piece of land right here and I measure from the ground, right, and I go and the land's completely flat, I get a mile. It's 1 mile.
Yep.
And then I go 100 feet up from that mark.
Yep.
And I measure just from the air, just above it, at that point, and travel a mile. It's the same.
Yes.
But if I measure a bumpy ass terrain with hills and mountains and shit from here to here, and then I walk it, I'm gonna walk a different distance. Because I'm going up and down and wibbly wobbly.
You will walk.
But if I measure above all that shit from this point to this point,
But we're not talking as the bird flies distance.
I think that's how it should be measured. I think that's how it probably is measured.
I don't know
As
if
the
it
bird
is.
flies. That's as the crow flies, man.
Right.
That as the crow flies.
I don't know that it's measured like that, but if it is, either way, that's the calculation they gave.
Either way, the image is flat.
Yes. I'm standing on it.
I don't know what it is, man. I think it's square. I think it's square, man. Final decision.
I think we need to do a bunch of. I think we should invest our lives into figuring out if Earth is flat or not.
I think about it pretty often. It's just like one of those cool little things that you want to find out, like if you die, like before you die or something. But I don't know if there's any way. It'll probably be an argued about topic forever.
Well,
not much to.
When I die and I go to heaven, I'm gonna ask God if Earth is flat. It's gonna be my first question. Is the Earth flat, man? I need Josh to know.
Yeah. I guess I'll be down in hell somewhere, like.
No, you just may not be dead yet.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe we'll get our answers at some point, but I think I'm going to stop the episode there. Maybe we found out all the answers you were looking for. Thanks for watching, like, and subscribe. I'm Jalen Dohundo, and this is
Tiny.
See you next time.